Mario Kart vehicle parts. There's a lot of them in 8 Deluxe. Trust me, I know I raced with every single one. But there were a lot of characters already and they added new ones. There were a lot of tracks already and they added new ones. So in this video, we have 50 funny ideas for new karts, gliders, and tires. The first 40 are all going to be themed from past Mario games, and the final 10 are going to be Nintendo crossover parts. So let's jump right into it, starting off with the Dory Kart. It would be hilarious to be able to drive a kart version of this lovable blue dinosaur. And number 2 is the Plessy Kart. I mean, I love Plessy. I can't include Dory and not include Plessy. It just had to be in here. For number 3, we have Glide-On from Super Mario Odyssey as a glider. Glide-On was a capture in that game, and he basically just was a glider. He would allow you to glide on over to some other part of the map. Putting a Glide-On inspired glider makes too much sense. And then next up, we have the Piranha Plant Pipe Wheels. These green pipes are one of the most iconic images in all of Mario. Let's just shrink them down and make them wheels. Coming in at number 5, we have the minecart from Donkey Kong Country. The minecart levels are devious, and it would make too much sense to have this in. It also could double as like Captain Toad's minecart, which I guess is already in Tour, so maybe this one could actually happen. Next, we have a balloon glider. Balloons are essentially the one-ups of the Donkey Kong Country games, and balloon-themed gliders would be too funny. Next up, I can't bring up Donkey Kong Country in a video all about vehicles without mentioning Gangplank Galleon, which is King K. Rool's signature ship in the Donkey Kong Country game. We already have the land ship, but getting a Gangplank Galleon themed kart would be amazing. And then next up, in Metro Kingdom, you can capture a manhole. So why not turn those into wheels? Literally driving with manhole cover wheels would be hilarious. And then continuing with the Metro Kingdom, we have the taxi cart. This isn't technically a cart, but hey, bikes are in this game. Giving us the moped motor scooter bike also from the Metro Kingdom would be so funny. And then a Jaxi themed cart. The Jaxi is the lion statue you can ride around in Sand Kingdom. That thing moves so fast that we have to be able to ride it in 200cc. Like, that would be perfect. Follow that up with another Odyssey reference. We have the Sherm cart, the tanks from Mario Odyssey. Imagine playing Mario Kart in a tank. That would be crazy. Next, we have something that doesn't make sense at all, but a Sherm is a tank, and tanks don't actually really have wheels. They have these like tread things. What if somehow you could equip treads to your karts? Obviously, they wouldn't really do anything special. They would just act as another form of wheels, and these would never happen because they would probably have to remodel like every single kart in order to make this work. But having treads would be hilarious. That'll never happen though. Let's go back to stuff that actually could happen, starting off with the Manta Ray glider from Super Mario Galaxy. You ride on these Manta Rays in Galaxy, but what if you had one as a glider? Luigi's Mansion 3 introduced the plunger mechanic, and since then plungers have kind of been synonymous with the Poltergust, at least in my opinion. So adding in plunger themed wheels as a nod to Luigi's Mansion would be amazing. Next, we have the Goomba shoe cart. These green shoes that Goombas so often somehow find themselves in. This would be hilarious as a kart. It could definitely work. And then you know this giant eel from Super Mario 64? It goes by a bunch of different names, either the Unagi, Moray eels, Ma-Ray. All I know is this thing is absolutely terrifying, but somehow being able to like drive in it would be so sick. You could shrink this thing down to a kart. It's possible. And then speaking with the underwater enemies, we have Sushi Kart. Sushi's actually the name of the sharks in Mario. There are some in New Super Mario Bros. DS. There are some in Super Mario 64. And the Sushi Racer from Mario Kart Tour is already modeled after it, so it's definitely possible to see added. And then speaking of sushi, I think the next one would just be like rolls of sushi as wheels. I think that's also really funny. Next, we have either a paper cart or paper wheels, which is obviously inspired by Paper Mario. We already have an origami glider in 8 Deluxe, so this would make too much sense. And then what about a Moo Moo cart, which is literally a mechanical cow, the same cows from Moo Moo Meadows, that you can then get in, drive around. That would be hilarious. Pom Pom in Super Mario 3D World uses these shurikens, and they could definitely work as wheels. Obviously, they would have to be made round because you can't really drive around on a shuriken, but the design of them at least could definitely be on wheels. And next up, we have the overall glider. Mario's iconic overalls in a glider. It would be hilarious. This one actually makes sense. The cape glider, obviously pulling from the cape feather from Super Mario World. And then next up, you remember these oil drums from Wrecking Crew? Yeah, let's just make them into wheels. They're circular enough, right? The car from Mario Party 9 is already a car. I mean, this is probably the most slam dunk easy one on this entire list. And you know what else is a slam dunk? You hitting the subscribe button. If you're enjoying the content, hit the button. You can always change your mind later. Coming in at number 27, we have the Royal Wheels. This would literally just be Peach's crown, or maybe even the Super Crown from Mario U Deluxe, Switch, whatever that game's called. Next up, we have a Starship Mario Kart. This would be like really stupid. If you don't know, Starship Mario is the hub world in Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's literally a planet that is also a starship that is captained by this big fat purple Luma named Lubba, and it is shaped like Mario. How this exists, I don't know. If we could sit in this and drive it around, it would probably be the funniest thing of all time. Speaking of Lubba, Lubba's big enough. Well, okay, let's not shame Lubba here, but he's big enough to be a glider. A Lubba-themed glider would be hilarious. And then, speaking on the Mario Galaxy train, we have the spin drill wheels. The spin drill is a very neat power-up in Galaxy. They could even have the drill part kind of sticking out. Obviously, it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't, like, attack the other person or pop their tires, although that would be a cool gimmick for a future Mario Kart. Next up, we have the Koopa Troopa car. This would be from the 3D World theme in Super Mario Maker 2. Next, we have the Jellyfish glider. Technically, I think these things are called jelly beams, like in the Mario universe, but they're jellyfish. That's like what they are. Having this thing as a glider would be awesome. And then next up, we have the Thwomp wheels. Technically, these are called Garol. They're just rolling, spiky, thwomp-looking wheel type things, and hey, they would fit on a car. Next, we have the Ostro bike, and Ostro is a ostrich-looking enemy from Super Mario Bros. 2. And look, Shy Guys can ride it. You can play as Shy Guy in Mario Kart. It makes too much sense. It's almost confirmed, right, guys? Sticking on the Super Mario Bros. 2 train, we have the Magic Carpet glider. I am actually surprised this has never, to my knowledge, been a kart. It seems a bit too obvious, right? Like, you even ride a magic carpet in Super Mario 64. Shoot, I don't know. We've had some karts, we've had some bikes. Let's give a little bit of love to the other vehicle class, the ATV, with a Hanbone ATV. These are just like the skeleton fish enemies that look like this. They've kind of been phased out for the dry bones fish looking guys, but the official art of these are terrifying. An ATV themed after this would be sick. And then next we have a Hot Roderick kart. The Hot Roderick is a boss in Wario Land Shake It, but you cannot tell me that this doesn't look like a Mario Kart kart. If you could just steal his car and then race in it in Mario Kart, I mean, that would be incredible. If you grab a pink baby Yoshi, you can make it massive. And hey, I don't know about you, but that looks like a good idea for a glider. And then next up, well, I don't even, this one's Mac's idea. I'm gonna just let him take it.
So listen, you remember those cute little seal guys from Super Mario Odyssey? Remember that really fun minigame on the bounding tracks? Ever since I laid my eyes on these guys during Super Mario Odyssey, I knew that they had to be incorporated into Mario Kart in some way or another. What if we had a set of wheels called Chevarian Spheres, which is made from the blubber of the Chevarians? I think these wheels could be an amazing addition to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay, side note, Mac, you've brought this idea up to me in conversations in the past. Why are you so infatuated with this idea of skinning these cute Chevarians and then putting their blubber on wheels?
Yeah, I've been on this one for a while.
One of the wheels I created are called Chevarian Spheres, which is made from the blubber of the Chevarians from the Snow Kingdom.
That is so messed up.
Okay, moving right along. Yoshi's wagon. It's from Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. It looks like a wagon that holds Yoshi eggs, and I want to be able to drive in it in Mario Kart. Welcome now to the final 10 ideas. These are going to be the best ones, and thank God they're not going to be Mario themed because we were clearly stretching it at the end with the Chevarian blubber bit. All right, coming in at 41, we have Samus's gunship. This would be actually really cool. I think this is almost like this needs to happen at some point. I mean, hey, they could literally use the Rocket League car if they needed to. At number 42, we have the SS Dolphin, which is the delivery ship from the original Pikmin. I hope if they add this in, they would also then add in Olimar as a playable character, but who knows. Next, we have the R-Wing. This could literally work as a kart or a glider. I think it would just be so cool. The Lightning Chariot kart from Kid Icarus would be hilarious to see. The Lightning Chariot is used in Kid Icarus Uprising and his final smash, and the design is kind of drippy if I'm being honest. Coming in at number 45, we have the Poke Float glider. Poke Float is one of the smash stages that never came back. Rest in peace, Poke Float, but please, Nintendo, at least give us like a Pokemon float glider thing. Next up, wheels, but they're Metroid. They spin, and yeah, that would be funny to me. I don't know. I can just imagine it, and I think it's funny. Coming in at number 47, okay, this one is tough. The Blue Falcon is already in the game, but the Bloodhawk is, in my opinion, the coolest F-Zero kart and needs to be added into Mario Kart. As if the Bloodhawk already isn't cool enough, in Japan, they call this thing the Hellhawk. That is probably the toughest name I've ever heard in my life. The Hellhawk? That is sick. Going from one of the coolest things ever to, well, Nintendo Labo. Seriously though, this cardboard bird would make an excellent glider. I mean, it has the wings, it has everything it needs. 49, we have the Halberd, Meta Knight's insane ship. That would be a kart. And then last but not least, we have an eggplant themed glider. This is from Ice Climbers. I just think it would be hilarious. Don't ask why. And with that out of the way, we've made it through 50 different kart, wheel, bike, ATV, and glider ideas for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And now we can talk about whether or not they would actually add in new kart parts. karts. Originally, I thought they would not, because when the Booster Course Pass initially dropped, I was under the assumption that Nintendo was not going to do anything that would mess with the time trial scene. Adding new karts with new stats would mess with the scene, because you're essentially giving players new options, maybe better karts, and that would be unfair considering that the game has been out since 2017 and people have been time trialing since then. So suddenly in a free update to give them a bunch more stuff that could just improve their times, I don't know, I didn't think that was really fair. But then Nintendo changed literally every stat on almost every kart vehicle part that there is, and all the time trial times have pretty much gotten demolished since that. That was in the Wave 4 update if you didn't know. So yeah, I think it's definitely actually possible for them to do this. I mean, think about it. We got new characters. That's something we weren't expecting at all within the Booster Course Pass. It seems like they are very much so in this kind of mindset of, hey, let's take almost everything we can from Tour, because this mobile game, I mean, hey, maybe it's doing well, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is clearly doing a lot better because the Switch sold incredibly, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is by far the top selling Switch game, and it's still like selling it. Like, it's insane to me. Side note, if you have a Switch and don't have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, why are you just now buying it? It doesn't even make sense. But regardless, it's interesting nonetheless, and it seems like Nintendo wants to just take as much as they can from Tour and then put it into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They already took tracks, they're clearly taking some characters. Of course, they could take like alternate costumes for characters, but they could also take the karts, the gliders. Hey man, modders have been doing it for years. They've been taking Tour Kart parts and stuff and putting them into 8 Deluxe. In fact, with stuff that you're not even really looking at, like the glider or the kart parts, they probably wouldn't even have to update the models. Of course, they have to update the models for the tracks. Well, at least they do sometimes. Some of the tracks just look completely ripped from Tour. I'm looking at you, Toad Circuit. But it's clear they do update like the track models and environments at least a little bit in certain aspects. I don't even know if they'd have to do that with the kart parts or gliders. They could probably just let it ride. Like, I don't think they look bad at all in Tour, and it's not like the karts in the game are the most like realistic looking things ever. I mean, you got stuff like the Biddy Buggy chilling next to like a Mercedes GLA, so it doesn't really matter how realistic they look. They don't have to really update anything here. So yeah, it's weird. It seems like wishful thinking to ask for more kart parts in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but at the same time, it seemed like wishful thinking back in 2020 or 2021 to ask for new courses, but here we are. And then when the first half of the Booster Course Pass was dropping, waves 1, 2, and 3, it felt like wishful thinking for me to say, oh, I want new characters and make like a character concept trailer, which I did. That was wishful thinking. In fact, a lot of people told me it was outright stupid to even bother wasting my time asking for that, but now here we are. We're getting 6 brand new characters. So yeah, who knows? I'm done kind of predicting what Nintendo's gonna do with this game. I feel like they're just gonna do whatever they want, and if they want to take these kart and glider models that they already have fully made, fully rigged in Tour and simply just drag and drop, essentially port them over, obviously it's a bit more involved than that, but not by much. If they wanted to do that, they definitely could, and I think they honestly might. Like, there's a good chance it happens, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and then if you've made it this far, this video on screen right now is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I go through the possibility of future Nintendo movies. I give pitches for the stories. I give how likely they are going to be to happen. Click it and give it a watch. It's one of my favorite videos.